Apple Intelligence and what that means for education. Apple recently came out with their big announcement talking about all the different new products and most importantly, their Apple Intelligence, meaning their AI integration into all things Apple. So we really have to take a step back here and think, okay, this is a major announcement coming from Apple. Apple has a large share of the laptop industry and of course the cell phone industry. So what does that mean for education? There are several different important things that this does affect education. So we need to be thinking about these things and seeing what that means as far as how we should think about AI and what we need to do going forward. The first thing dealing with Apple Intelligence is this idea that now AI will be strongly integrated within the entire Apple ecosystem. So that means that whenever you're using an Apple device, you'll be able to use AI regardless of whatever app you're in. And virtually all apps now within the ecosystem of Macs or of Apple, now you'll be able to go through and have this assistant, have this additional tool that you can use to help you, whether it's to manipulate text or whether it's to create images or solve math problems. All these different things now will now be enhanced through this addition of Apple Intelligence, right? The AI. It's funny they came up with this term Apple Intelligence, but it's just AI. Big thing about this integration is that now this will be available for the students whenever they want, as far as using it to assist with their creation of text. Whether they want to or not, it's going to be right there. It's going to be a tool that they could use. Again, we have to consider that because when we give assignments, when we tell them what we want, we need to understand that that temptation is going to always be there. So for us, that means, do we want to integrate it or do we want to express even more to students, hey, I know you're going to have a button right there that will allow you to modify the text, but for this assignment, I don't want you to use it, right? We need to be very explicit with our instructions on how we want AI to be used, if we want it to be used within an assignment. This goes back to my share technique that I talked about before. So that's an important thing because of this really strong additional integration with everything that Apple makes. We have to be aware of that. We have to be aware that now that student has that tool available. So the temptation is going to be there. And again, do we integrate it? Do we not? We have to make those conscious decisions as to how we want to utilize the AI. So that's a big one there, integration. The other big one is simply to understand that, hey, students now have more and more access to advanced AI. This is the idea that they could always use Siri now because Siri is going to be enhanced with even greater AI to solve questions, to go through and give them information on many different things. And then on top of that, if Siri can't answer it because the AI is going to be mainly limited to processing within their actual device, whether that's their laptop or their cell phone, if it can't answer that, if it's a question that's too complicated, well, then it'll be able to seamlessly access an additional AI, an AI that's up in the cloud on the internet. So things like ChatGPT, it's going to come out and be fully integrated within Mac products, Apple products. So now the student could use that additional AI as well as the Apple AI, the Apple Intelligence. So we have to be aware of that too, that now the students will have additional capabilities to access these AIs. And that's the current thing. They've left it open so that they could easily integrate additional AIs such as Google, such as Microsoft, even the Copilot aspects, or Claude, or any other ones. They're leaving it open so that it would be available to whatever the individual wants to use. So again, it's going to be this type of thing. Now, there might be some concerns about privacy. Well, again, Apple is thinking about that. So what they've done is they've done it so that a majority of the processing of what's going on with the AI is done within the device in order to keep it that much more local, that much more safe. And then whenever something has to be accessed to an additional AI, such as with ChatGPT, well, now it will first of all prompt you and let you know that this is happening. You have to agree to it, and then it'll go through, but it'll go through in a special way to Apple servers, so it's even more secure, and There's going to be all sorts of different checks in order to maximize privacy and security. And that's according to what the people over at Apple have said. So there's those issues. So we have this idea of really strong integration. We have this idea of access now to more AI. And then additionally, we have to think about, well, what's going to be the response for all of this? There's going to be a response, right? Because in order to stay relevant in the AI game, you always have to be able to deliver what your competitors are delivering and then do more. So now I'm fully expecting that Microsoft is going to come out with something else and to talk about even stronger integration within their operating system, within their applications. Google will come out and say, oh yeah, we also have these stronger integrations within all of our applications, and it's going to continue and continue. So again, for education, we need to think about that as far as, hey, it's going to be more and more difficult for the student to not be exposed to AI. So this leads to us having this understanding that this is even more evidence that we must go in and give AI literacy instruction. Of course, all faculty need it, staff need it, but for sure our students need it. Why? Because they're going to be exposed more and more because of this tight integration. It's going to be this idea of, oh, I'm using it, whatever application, of course there's AI there. Now, if I don't have full understanding, full AI literacy about what are the pros and cons about using an AI, what are some ethical considerations, what are the capabilities that I need to develop within myself to use it appropriately, should I be using it? Critical thinking aspects as far as, am I going to be losing some skills, over reliance, all these different things that comes from us, from educators. We need to be the ones that are going out there and ensuring that the students know exactly what they're doing so that when they use the AI, they're using it purposely, mindfully, and understanding the pros and cons, understanding what they're gaining and what they might be losing. So this is an important aspect. We need to put all of this together. We need to consider these things. And these new features, the strong integration, some of it is going to be available for all Mac users, all Apple users. Things like Siri is going to be that much more advanced. But then a lot of it will have to require additional hardware, meaning that it's going to require higher chipsets, higher capabilities within the device themselves. And so not everyone will have it. So now we have to think about equity aspects, right? Maybe one student that has a Mac product, it's an older one, so they can't use the full capabilities. So we have to consider that within our assignments as well. Are we assigning things that use AI, but everyone doesn't have access? So we need to consider these things. So again, we need to balance those things, do some research on our own, do some testing on our own. Ask our students to help us out with this. Hey, test this out. Use the Apple intelligence for this, and let's compare that to ChatGPT. Let's compare this to Copilot and to Claude and Perplexity, all these different AIs. Again, by doing this together, by being open about how we're developing our understanding and utilization of AI, the better everything is going to be. The big thing is, of course, is not to pretend that it's not there and to understand that these are skills that students need to develop. They need to have capability. Of course, foundational knowledge, always important, but they need to also develop these AI literacy skills in order to be that much more prepared for the real world that's continuing to develop around us. All right. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this. If you liked it, be sure to share it to everyone, subscribe, like this video, and please, please, please comment. I definitely want to develop our little community here so that we can learn from one another. And remember, learning is for life.